because it actually serves the political propaganda largely. I mean, street plays were actually returned to actually fight emergencies, or some of the street plays were actually returned to support emergencies, right? Theatre was actually used as a political tool for more than 30-40 years, even today. Whenever the election props up, some of them actually will call up and say that one street play baritira. And they have been making use of it at the most stupidest level, to be frank. Like, for example, they don't even ask which political ideology that you belong to. Randomly, they call up people and ask like that, will you write street play supporting this government, supporting that government? No. And they don't even know whether that particular person actually believes that ideology or not. And that person will actually even do it based on the money. He might go vote for someone else, but he'll write a street play for a different political ideology.
Abhishek Iyengar is an Indian playwright and a theatre director. He is the co-founder of Bangalore-based theatre company WeMove, a BITS Pilani Alumni, an ex-engineer. He is also the writer of popular Kannada films Mundina Nildana, Brahmi and Naguvina Hoogala Mele, and many other upcoming Kannada films. Tune into this theatrical podcast brought to you exclusively by Prana Stories. Please like, comment and subscribe to Prana Stories for more of such original content.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Abhishek Iyengar ji.
Thank you.
Welcome to Prana Stories.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you as like a theatre person. I know you're more than that, which me and audience will discover as we sort of discuss.
Sure.
But as a theatre person, and also I know you as like you also have written stories for many of the popular Kannada films. So I can probably tell that you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I'm also keen to know the Indian theatre, the history of Indian theatre and what is it, at what state it is right now. Do people really come for the shows and what kind of shows happen and all that. So can we just dive straight into that topic of the Indian theatre and the history of it briefly, right?
Yeah.
From how did it start and how did it go, and then lots of things must have happened, right? And where it is right now.
Right.
So can we just go through that and then see where the conversation goes?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a very interesting point to start also, because most of the drama schools today, as they teach about Stanislavski, Brett and Chekhov and all those things.
Who are these people?
They are the Western playwrights and the Western directors who actually propagated their form of theatre, and a lot of them came to us during the colonization or the Western rules, right? Rulers were ruling. And as we actually learn a lot about these in our drama school, which is actually taught in abundance, no one is actually speaking about a much older tradition of Indian theatre, which is Sanskrit theatre, say Bhasa or Kalidasa or Shudraka or Harsha. These are some of the great Indian Sanskrit playwrights. Much before that, Bharata Muni, who wrote Natya Shastra, which actually gave us the principles of both Shastra, Natya, and also the principles of dance and theatre, what we actually speak now. And it is actually, I feel it very funny actually, to be frank, because we have so much in us, and we actually resort to learning which is actually not ours. And I'll tell you a very important, interesting
Why did
thing.
that happen? It's because of colonialism?
No, it is always, it's generations-wise, lot of our stuff, lot of our culture and learnings is always been restricted, stopped by invasions, foreign rulers, and later on colonization, and also a lot of things that actually control the political spectrum of this particular country. So, and it has happened over the years, which is like over centuries now. For example, I'll give you this interesting fact. See, Bhasa, one of the greatest Sanskrit playwright, wrote about 13 plays in totality. That is what we have discovered. He is believed to be in existence during the Mauryan Empire from 200 AD to 300 AD.
Okay.
Right? So,
Bhasa.
Bhasa.
Okay.
Right? And he wrote primarily in Sanskrit. He wrote some of the legendary plays. I'll come back to Bhasa also as we speak more. His works was discovered, and they were all discovered in 1913.
This as
New as about, say,
1913.
Right, 1913, by one Mr. Ganapati Shastri, when he was a professor at a Sanskrit college in Trivandrum. While he was actually researching for something else, he actually found the place of Bhasa on this Talagari, this one palm leaves.
The palm leaves.
Yeah. Written, and it was actually discovered near Trivandrum in 1913.
Discovered as in a library or like?
It was discovered as a part of some kind of a research or excavation.
Excavation?
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. It was not even preserved properly.
Wow.
200 AD to 300 AD where he lived, and it was discovered in 1913. So for roughly about the number of years and centuries, we all knew that there existed a greatest playwright called Bhasa, but none of his works were available, preserved or conserved.
Okay, let me clarify. You said he belongs to the Mauryan period.
Right.
How did it appear in Kerala?
Yeah, I mean that's a mystery. That's the mystery. Someone might have during the invasions of Mauryan Empire would have.
And the inscription is in Sanskrit.
Yeah, the inscription is in Sanskrit. They were the original inscriptions that Ganapati Shastri, the professor, actually found, and they were all restored. And that's when it was even discovered that he actually wrote some of these plays.
Maybe someone. Because I also Kathakali is part of Kerala, right?
Correct.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe someone had brought it for reference.
Maybe.
It was there.
Or see, generation wise, what we have actually been suffering is loss of our work due to these invasions. And some of very great Indian playwrights or plays were actually stopped even during the Mughal Empire, even during the foreign invaders when they invaded the country or our dynasties. So it would have been such a case that it was during that Mauryan Empire and the invasions happened, and then the transcripts were actually stolen to actually.
Yeah, they would have pushed it there. Because that was the case with many of our temple deities.
Exactly.
They took the deities and they went far away and hid them under the earth or somewhere they started hiding all of this.
Right.
So maybe this is that one such story. Now is it safe?
Now it is safe.
Okay.
Multiple versions of it have been come.
Okay.
But that's a very interesting question. I have a different interest, perception to that particular question too. Now is it safe from whom is a question, is what I'll ask.
Safe, and at least physically is it restored and kept in a museum or something like that?
It is physically restored.
Okay.
It is actually a lot of multiple versions of those plays have been retrieved.
Okay.
And it is restored, and it is actually safe to some extent.
Yeah, safe as in, is it available to the...
Yeah, physically it is. Physically it is available to people to read now. Okay. But intellectually, again, it is not safe.
That I understand.
Because again, Bhasa's plays have been interpreted in many ways. They will say that they have their own versions.
Yeah.
Obviously. So on a very logical, on a very philosophical way, it's not safe. Physically, it's safe.
So this is one such, earlier podcast that I had. We may be digressing, which was on Sanskrit.
Right.
So the Sanskrit. So there was a lot of comments on YouTube and Instagram that Sanskrit is forced. Sanskrit is Aryan. It came from outside. Sanskrit is Brahmins. It is being forced upon us. We have our own language and many things like that. So this is an example that from excavation you retrieve a Sanskrit manuscript,
right,
which was written by Bhasa, around which century?
200 to 300. This is what we believed that he existed.
Right? Yeah. At that time.
Correct.
So this is a proof, at least the physical proof, that it is not forced upon.
It is not forced upon. Right? Obviously, no.
It's part of this geography.
Correct.
Nobody is dividing anybody. Nobody is separating anybody.
Correct.
It's just that you don't separate yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
And that is what we have been doing actually. And as I told you, as I started the entire conversation, that we studied so much about Western playwrights that we
Ignore our also.
Yeah, I mean, 200 AD they wrote plays. I mean, Basa wrote Urbanga in maybe in that 200 to 300 AD, you know. And it's an again interesting fact that in that play Urbanga, Duryodhana is a protagonist.
Oh.
Now today, a lot of people come back and talk about, you know, interpretations, you know, creating alternative history and all those things. In 200 AD, we have done all those things. We have given equal space, equal literary space to every perception, every interpretation and every character that we kind of worship, we kind of believe, we kind of have faith in it.
Yeah.
Urubanga Duryodhana is a protagonist, and he actually comes and Duryodhana speaks about how he is actually in guilty of what he did.
Oh,
right? And the entire play revolves around Duryodhana. Wow. And this is done in 200 AD, not now. So people come and say that, have you actually seen this Ramayana or Mahabharata from this angle? Have you seen, if you were Lakshmana's wife, Urmila, have you ever actually thought about Ramayana from Urmila's point of view? I'd say, boss, we have done all those things. Yeah. All our great poets and playwrights have written in every angle, in every this one. They have given equal space to both Ravana and Rama, and that's the greatness. That's the inclusivity of our literature.
Yeah, right. So we started from. So for Indian theatre, can we say, because I also spoke to many dance gurus on my show, that everything boils down to Natya Shastra.
Correct.
Everything is referred to Natya Shastra because there is no other document that is as exhaustive, as extensive, as deep as that.
Correct.
And anything in the world is covered under that.
Correct.
So for Indian theatre also is the same thing, right?
Yes.
Because it is a document of performing arts, dramaturgy, and music.
Correct.
Right. So you are also alluding to that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you know what? The Natya Shastra is the foundation for any performing arts, live stage performing arts. Like you already mentioned, dramaturgy or the dance form or the theatre form. See, we originated in such a way that for us, acting, which is when we now differentiate, theatre is more of acting and dance is more of the movement-based performance. Our root classical Indian theatre did not have this differentiation
between dance and
drama. Dance and drama.
It was dance drama basically.
Exactly. So equal amount of dance was there in drama and equal amount of drama was there in dance.
Yeah.
And it was only, after this, the Western playwrights came, the textual plays actually came into existence, the Shakespearean style of play. And that's when I actually put in a lot of Chekhov, Brett and Stanislavski and all these people who actually, the Western playwrights, they, even in their times, they included a lot of folk arts in their countries, but when they actually traveled, they brought in a lot of textual plays. That is when a little bit of dance took a back seat in Indian dramas. Otherwise, we have a great encapsulation of both dance and drama, and that is what actually makes our art a little more very rooted to our culture, because that is our nativity. Take any folk art, like say for example, as I said you, the early Sanskrit theatre, after they actually perished because of invasion and rulers, etc., the next traces of any kind of theatre would be the folk theatre, the kinds of Yakshagana or the Kolas or those things. So all of them have dance and drama both.
Yeah, Yakshagana is a great example.
Correct.
And of course, Kathakali is another example, because that is also called as Indian theatre.
Correct. I'll just refer to this, in fact.
Sure.
Because it's a very important thing. Yes, so, like you asked me that is Natya Shastra the foundation for theatre? I'll tell you two important aspects of Natya Shastra which is so nice and done when Bharata Muni wrote, whom we actually say about 2000 BC, maybe, or even about before that. We don't know the calendar year of existence of everything is an assumption. There are two aspects, Nataka and Prakarana, right? Nataka is a drama part of Natya Shastra, where lot of aspects of Nataka is based on heroes and deities of our Indian culture and traditions. Say for example, Ramayana or Mahabharata or story of Rama or Love Kush or the Pandavas or Krishna, or all these come under the Nataka aspect of Natya Shastra. Prakarana is another aspect of Natya Shastra, where plays are based on day-to-day basic life of different set of people as per the imagination of playwright.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So, your Sudama story comes under Prakarana.
Prakarana. Okay.
Right? While the Krishna story comes under Nataka.
Okay.
Remember the Dhobi of Ramayana, who after Sita came back to after the Lanka war, and Rama and Sita actually spoke. I mean, Sita came back to the Armane, and then one of the Dhobi had passed a casual comment
on it. Yeah,
that's Prakarana.
Okay.
Because that's the imagination of playwright, where stories are actually created based on common people of that particular time and generation.
Nice.
And Nataka is majorly on the major deities and heroes that we kind of have faith or worship, and plays created out of them.
Okay.
These are two foundations on which Indian theatre is actually built.
Wow.
This is what, after several years, all the Western playwrights told. Whatever that you call as contemporary plays today
is all Prakarana only
of Natya Shastra.
Wow. We had it long time. So whoever says it like it's always not God centric or religion centric.
Absolutely.
There is democratic way of theatre also.
Exactly. Otherwise, how will a Dhobi come as a character in a great epic like Ramayana, and how will a great person, a very great king like Rama will get affected from a Dhobi? See the greatness of our Indian literature and see the equal importance of the characters. If you consider it as a literature, see the greatness of importance of characters to common people in Indian literature. No Western literature has actually given such importance to this one. Do you hear a common man during the times of plays of King Napoleon? No. Do you hear a common man of during the times of any of the Elizabeth or Victorian era? Or did Shakespeare write about common man? No. All that Shakespeare wrote about was Jews, was about the rulers of those times. Exactly. And the few plays where he wrote about common man were also about they being very closely knit to the rulers of those kind of that.
It's not his perspective.
Exactly. Right. So no common man was actually given stress in the Western plays. But our literature has always been part of it, because it's in Natya Shastra. The Prakarana itself is this one, and people who study Natya Shastra as part of both dance and now probably very less as part of the theatre education know this one, and all the things that we speak about, stories of common man today, contemporary plays, relating to people, relating to audience, everything is done, dusted. It's just that we lost it.
Yeah. So here is an interesting thought that I have, or I don't know whether this maybe it's your observation also. So I have been speaking to a lot of dancers who come on the show, like Kathak people who do Kathak, people who do Bharatnatyam. I mean, all these traditional classical arts, or even Yakshagana also. So I see that. So whenever I started, when I started Prana Stories, I wanted to speak to people, or I wanted to speak to people who are doing a continuum of a culture, which is, let's say, which has an antiquity of, let's say, 1,000 years.
Of course.
Right? Because that's where I'm fascinated, because this civilization of ours is still living. True. Unless if you compare with any Greco-Roman or Egyptian civilization, and it's all gone. We are still there. What is the secret of that? And I wanted to speak to people in that direction. But when you speak about Indian culture and all that, that ended up that I go to these classical musicians, classical dancers, because they are the ones who are continuing that culture. So if you see, they are doing a particular art. They are doing it on stage. That's their lifestyle. But in a common way, if you notice the culture that is followed by common people, maybe they are doing pujas and rituals and all that. But that is their lifestyle is completely changing.
Correct.
The
classical artist, yes.
No, not the classical artist. Apart from classical artists, the common people,
okay.
common people's urban lifestyle is completely, changing. But because the classical artists are sticking to their art,
Right.
they have a compulsion to follow a certain tradition.
Correct.
So I ended up speaking to these people only. Now, when it comes to Indian theatre, because I have also seen. Because in my college days, there used to be these plays and competition that used to happen at Ravindra Kalakshetra and all that.
Right.
I have never seen anybody saying from the theatre background that Indian theatre is everything is there in the Natya Shastra. Nobody has said that. I don't know why.
Right.
Nobody has even spoken about it. Nobody has even, I don't know, maybe I didn't meet the right people at that time.
Right.
So nobody has spoken about Natya Shastra.
Right.
And I also see that in cases of the classical dances of India like Odissi, Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Kuchipudi and all that, that is retained to some extent.
Of course.
The traditionalities is retained. But when it comes to Indian theatre, it has gone past in a very different way. Right? The prakaranas or the day-to-day life is what is being sort of propagated. But I would say the Indianness is only the lifestyle of people that are there. But in terms of deities and the gods, that has gone. That's not there.
Right.
Or even the musicality of that is not there.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
But in the classical arts, that deities and all that is still there.
The sense of devotion is still
Sense of devotion, that bhakti is still there.
Yes.
So why has that happened?
It's I'll tell you, I think this is my view of, this is majorly my view, and this is what probably I think has happened. Maybe and different people might have different opinions. But in every performing art, be it dance, music, folk arts, even if you actually take fine arts for that matter of fact, theatre is the only art form that doesn't have Gurukul system. Right? You can say Praveen, when the moment I actually came to the set and I asked you, Praveen, you're a dancer. The first thing that you mentioned is I'm disciple of this person.
Guru,
right?
yeah.
So you have a guru.
Yeah.
You ask me, Abhishek, who is your guru in theatre? I don't have a guru in theatre. Right? So theatre is the only performing art form that doesn't have Gurukul system, and it is actually seen as a liberalized art form, where no one is actually bound to learn certain aspects under no one. Right? Everyone who can actually say few lines are an actor. Everyone who can actually write few lines are a writer. And everyone who can actually stand there and tell to someone else on stage, move like this, is a director.
Okay.
Right? The art form is actually devised, or it has actually been modified from centuries, especially in Indian theatre. The Indian theatre was not like this, right? People studied, when I took examples of Basa or even the early folk theatre like Yakshagana or Kolas and other things. Today, Yakshagana, you can't be a liberal artist in Yakshagana. You have a guru in Yakshagana.
Yeah.
So the folk theatre still retains its bhakti, its devotion, its the sanctity of that particular performance. The for example, if you actually go and actually see any folk art, even the the kolas or the one that happens near the Kerala, in the Wayanad or the Kerala border.
Thayyam, is it?
Thayyam, Mohiniyattam, and all those these kind of performances. They all have their gurus. They all actually learn under that particular guru, come under that particular guru as they graduate as a system. But the modern theatre, especially, do not have that.
Okay.
It was destroyed categorically, on purpose, phase by phase, the Gurukul system. It was destroyed because to make it a tool for political ideologies.
Okay. So, but then when you say there is no guru, anybody can say a few lines, can become an actor and all that. Is it not more freer than the Gurukul system?
Yeah, but are you more equipped with tools and knowledge to actually go and perform? This is what I ask today.
The argument can be that I will learn from different places.
You can, but the thing is that how much are you actually giving back to the audiences? You as much as you actually learn from different places by experiences, you are also actually putting all the experiences into a mixed jar and creating your own piece, and then expect audience to like it. They might not.
Okay.
If they like it, they like it. But if they don't like it, they don't like it. But still, you end up, because it's a liberal art and there is no censorship, you kind of end up performing the same thing again and again, irrespective of whether the audience like it or don't like it. Pushing it to a certain level where at some point of time, audience might actually start reciprocating to it. So it's a dangerous notion, I would say.
Okay.
See, anything should have a learning system.
Okay.
That is what basic our Indian education system was actually great in that particular point of fact. Now, the learning system, you can argue whether that learning system can be theoretical or practical, right? I would say learning system should be very practical, right? The Gurukul system was a practical way of learning. They didn't actually, from what we have read, they didn't have people sit down and read through pages of history. Rather, they actually made them practice the art or the shastra, whatever that they were actually learning. Now, this is the problem, that you are actually going and performing without knowledge, more dangerously half knowledge. So now, if you actually take, say for example, anyone who is actually, as I told you, is free to perform a play. So take Bhasa's Urubanga today. Just because you are actually free to perform as a theatre practitioner, put in your own interpretation of Urubanga in Bhasa, because of not reading the original work of Bhasa or not understanding. Now, if you are not understanding the Bhasa himself, how will you actually understand Urubanga? Why did he actually put Duryodhana as a protagonist? And now, present that play to this generation. 15 years later, this will become an interpretation of Bhasa and not the original interpretation.
Correct. Okay, right? There's a danger there.
That's the danger of this one. Categorically, it has been actually done to actually inflict this kind of only into our literature, because it actually serves the political propaganda largely. Street plays were actually written to actually fight emergencies, or some of the street plays were actually written to support emergencies, right? Theatre was actually used as a political tool for more than 30-40 years, even today.
Okay, yeah.
Whenever the election props up, some of them actually will call up and say that one street play baribeku baritira, right? So even today, theatre is being used as so a Bharatanatyam dancer will not get a call and say that election bartide illon Bharatanatyam performance
ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, because that is a traditional art.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So the traditionalism is lifted from theatre because they can use it as a tool, because it's a common man's language, because of the same philosophy of Natya Shastra, because the playwright is actually free to use the common people to create his own stories.
Yeah.
Right, the prakaras.
Yeah.
The prakaranas. Sorry.
So, although, okay, that's like a very dangerous line. Although it might say that you are free to do whatever you want, there is a choice for you, but there is also a misuse that will happen.
Exactly.
Right.
And always any kind of art form should be learned before you start propagating it. And that's a great thing in Gurukul system. Because you have these mudras, and that's a great thing to actually teach to this one. I have heard from a lot of performing artists of dance and other folk arts that they can't actually start teaching without the formal approval of the guru. The reason is that so that they teach right. They teach properly. They teach those mudras properly, and they actually learn it properly, so that the art is not adapted.
Correct. Yeah.
Now this is a problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I have done, I have studied fine arts.
Right.
There is always this bypassing that happens. Whenever you learn anything, let's say even fine art, or fine art as in visual art. So I did my painting.
Oh, lovely.
Right. But then in the first 2-3 years, you have to do basic foundation things, like basic sketching. Like you are sitting in front of me, I need to draw as you are, right? That's like a realistic proportion. I need to know your anatomy, proportions and everything. I need to be able to do that. That's like a grammar that I learned.
Correct.
But then after a few years, I can break that grammar.
Okay.
Like it's like what I feel or what are you. It's more like more reality in terms of character.
Correct.
But unless I know that grammar,
Correct.
you can't break. I mean, you can break it without knowing the grammar. Also, you can break it. That's what I call it as bypassing.
Right.
Then call it art. Right. Then there is a lot of debate on that is what is called as modern art.
Right.
Because modern art anybody can do.
Correct.
They call it like it is democratized to such an extent. Even children, because they come up with their own perspective, right? That is art. So an artist of X caliber and a child, you will not see a difference between what they do. Because that's what they call.
True.
So I think in theatre also they try to do the same thing.
Exactly.
But here, it's, I mean, art is bought by connoisseurs. They can display it at their homes and all that. But theatre is a mass.
Exactly.
Is a mass.
It's a
art.
common man's language.
Right.
It's a common man's tool.
Yeah.
So there is no way that it can be bought. But they will buy it when they need it.
Yeah.
And they've always bought it.
Like it's like a spatio-temporal kind of an art,
Correct,
right?
correct.
There is a space, there is a there is a time to
Right.
it, and then you can use it to propagate your
Correct.
idea.
Correct.
That's what they wanted to do.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
And that's the danger of it. And that is why the structures of theatre has always been destructed. And I mean, in any invasion in our country, the first thing that are attacked are our temples and then our literature.
Because, I mean, again, you came to temples because temple was the center.
The center of literature.
Everything.
Correct.
Even whether it is theatre,
Dance.
whether it is education of Sanskrit or
Correct.
whatever, everything is there.
Correct.
It's like a center of everything, economical, social, cultural. They broke that.
Correct.
And then all of this broke.
Correct.
So that's why the traditional arts still remain because probably they couldn't, intrude into that.
Maybe they did not have that IQ power to intrude into
that. Yeah. But this one they could because there is a...
Because of the common man angle to it.
Yeah.
Even today, see, the original Ram Leela performance that happens, they are not able to intrude into that, right? But it is the interpretations that they have been intruded because the interpretations is based on the foundation of Natya Shastra only that I told Prakarana.
Right.
Because the common man is involved in it, so it gives the playwright the freedom to involve a common man and see that story from his angle or from her angle.
Yeah.
So they intruded that part.
Correct.
So that is where the interpretation, I always call it as interpretation literature. It's a parallel world.
Yeah. No, I mean, what I feel is that if people are using it to propagate a certain narrative, it should be in such a that all narratives should have a place.
Exactly.
But
Correct.
that's not happening.
That's not happening.
All narratives don't have a place. It's only
Correct.
one kind of narrative that is
Correct.
happening.
Correct.
Right?
And there is no scope for counter narrative also.
Yeah.
Any creative work should have a counter narrative, right?
Yeah.
Say for that's why I told you, like, and that's what some of the great plays did. And I started with that if you put a Duryodhana as a protagonist, the protagonist is Duryodhana, but what is he speaking about is a counter narrative. So typically our plays had that aspect.
So what is the current Indian theatre narrative? What is the general narrative?
It is actually, a lot of Indian theatre now is substantially divided into contemporary city theatre and also folk theatre.
Folk theatre, okay.
Yes. So we have some good plays of Ramayana, Mahabharata, stories of instances of Ramayana, Mahabharata coming back to stage. People are enjoying it.
Okay.
Lot of people actually want to show their kids these kind of stories so that they can enjoy. But there is also a good amount of contemporary plays that are actually shaping up, which actually tell the stories of day-to-day lives of the metro people, metro cities, etc. And these are socialistic plays.
Okay.
Not that we have not done it. Like Kailasam wrote it in 1940s. So the same Kailasam plays are kind of getting reinvented for the age of IT, AI, and all those things. So subjects like adoption, subject like same-sex marriages, subject like separation, subject like psychological issues, stress on the metro work, metro city work,
Okay.
and all those things, the city life. Some of these plays are all actually making some impact on people, and they are all stories of today's times. I always say that as much as we create history, we also have to create present, because present is tomorrow's history.
Yeah.
So
in a sense that now rural has become, the urban theatre has become the prakarana.
Correct.
And the rural has become the, what is that?
The Nataka part.
Nataka part.
But actually, no, it is. But the thing is that the rural part of this Bharata is always amazes me, because we think that they are the most ignored part of the country, but they are the most welcoming,
Or
most
so-called backward.
So-called backward. They are the most forward-thinking, most understanding this one.
Yeah.
We did a metro play in a very, very deserted place near Bangalore, Udupi.
Okay.
People sat through the play. It's a metro play. It's a play about a city life, about 3 women, and we actually did it in a very remote village near Bangalore.
Okay.
And the people who actually watched the play, maybe they did not have probably much exposure like that of what the Bangalore people had. They understood the play.
Wow.
And they had their set of questions. We also performed once in near Hoskote.
Okay.
And they had their interpretation. They had their own level of thinking about that thing that we spoke about in the play. And they were very welcoming.
Okay.
So we can't. Lot of such things also happen. Like some of these things also happen. But the major classification, the rural always likes something that is actually very rooted to them, very folk to them.
Yeah.
Something that deals with this one. Even though if it is socialistic, then it actually has to revolve around their lives. Not, say, for example, a Hubli audience would not like something that is happening in Whitefield in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Right? But would definitely like something that is happening around Hubli. Even though if it is socialistic. But they can relate to it better.
Yeah.
They can
And their dialect is also different.
Dialect is also different. Yeah.
Right.
So it's the same thing with Bangalore too. People perform American playwrights, Neil Simmons play and all those things. Now that guy actually, the playwright speaks about America, Broadway, New York of 1980s or 70s. Now what will I actually do connecting to it in Jayanagar?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense to me.
Correct. Yeah.
So I always say that tell our story.
Correct. Yeah.
Be it contemporary or folk. Tell our story. We have so many stories to tell.
Correct. Yes.
Every Indian household has 100 stories to tell. So people will relate to it. That is what I believe in.
Okay. So then you said the narratives are all urban stories that are there in current theatre.
I mean, along with the folk will never cease to go. I mean, the traditional folk or the place of Ramayana, Mahabharata, or from our literature, they also have sheer amount of. They are always a folk play has a house full as compared to a contemporary play.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have never seen a folk play going dry without audience. But a contemporary play can actually happen for 30 people in an auditorium of 300, but not a folk play.
Why is that? Maybe because it's the pull of the story, or its predictability of the story, or I don't know what is
I
it?
think maybe I think it's the people are returning to our bases, so they would actually love to see some of these characters back on stage.
Okay.
I feel a lot of these characters and stories were missing in action for briefly about 20-25 years in between, is what I personally feel.
What happened in those 25 years?
I think we downgraded our own stories, our own literature, is what I feel.
Is it because of colonialism?
Maybe.
Or the politics?
It is because of colonialism. It is because of the political spectrum. I mean, we We found heroes in unnecessary people. We did place
unnecessary people. What is it?
like for example, say Tughlaq as a play. I or Tippu as a play.
I have also seen a play on Aurangzeb.
Aurangzeb as a play,
Yeah.
as a this one. So some of these took over some of the people whom we need to actually speak.
But the argument is, why don't you listen to the other side of the story? That's what the argument is.
Yeah, but the thing is that I am ready to listen to the other side of the story. But for example, if you ask me to actually see Tippu, I mean, I know the massacre of Melkote that happened for Mundina Nildana's during Deepavali. Now, will you ask a Jew to watch a play on Hitler? Right? And will you ask a Jew to go and say that, why don't you hear the
Other
side of Hitler? Will you ever dare to do it? None of them will do it. But why force this upon us?
Yeah.
Right? So, some of the massacres that have happened are not false. There is enough historical evidence. A lot of people have spoken about it.
Yeah, most of these invaders, they have written their history themselves.
Correct. Exactly.
Or they have the court historians.
Exactly.
Because they wanted to, create that fear.
True.
Instill that fear.
True.
Which is working very detrimental right now.
Exactly.
All the Ram Janmabhoomi evidences, it's all because of I have done this.
Exactly.
They have written it.
Correct.
Right? Probably even Tippu has written. I have not read it. But at least Aurangzeb has written how many women he raped, how many places he plundered,
exactly.
what kind of taxes he said. But the description of the play that was there, what I read, is a very pious and religious man.
True.
Right?
So that's a dangerous precedent to set. Right? Why when you question about distorting history, why do you have to distort history of people also? Right?
Yeah.
So as much as they question as to why are you questioning that they were part of our history, they ruled us, yes, we have to accept them and we have to move on. We also have to accept the things that they have done while during their rule too.
Correct. Yeah.
So much as whatever Hindu rulers would have done during their ruling too.
Yeah.
So as much as we accept them, these plunders, these things also have to be accepted.
Right.
So I would say that, so that is why as much as people are now returning back to base, they are liking some of these stories, and that's why a folk play will never go dry. And there is some Shakti that I actually call it as. There is some, it's not explainable, right? And it's a feeling. Any play based on instances of either Ramayana or Mahabharata is always houseful, right? And
that's the divine intervention.
Maybe that's a divine intervention, to be frank. A lot of people actually do plays
I didn't expect to hear this from a theatre person because I have a different perception of a theatre person, at least in Bangalore.
All of them.
Even because I have been, as I said, I've learned visual arts, I've learned fine arts.
Right.
You know the crowd,
of course,
how they are in the artist circle, right?
Right.
I don't get to hear anything like this.
Right. I'll tell you what, I'm making this a kind of a very frank opinion. See, the theatre practitioners who are there and this kind of feeling that they have on theatre practitioners, some of the most disciplined, some of the most, to some extent religious. When I say religious, I would say religious in their own right. Right? Say theatre people have their own format and have their own lifestyle which they religiously follow, and for me that is Shraddha. Right? Shraddha towards a god and Shraddha towards the work is same for me.
Same thing.
Right? So, and that is what Bhagavad Gita also says, that your work is your god. Right? So the theatre people are in that way are the most people are the people with the utmost Shraddha. Dedication and their channelization towards their work is immense. I'll tell you why this entire perception, according to me, again a personal opinion, is because of fear of losing out on work.
Oh.
Right? People because for roughly about 30-40 years, a particular political spectrum ruled, and now a different political spectrum is ruling. For good amount of this one, there has been some amount of network or hegemony that has been created in theatre. People get work if they believe or if they make believe the system that they are from this particular ideology.
Okay, so you portray a certain way so that you are accepted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct. Because they get work, they get their money, they get grants, they get. Now, they, of course, some of the full-time theatre practitioners, they didn't have money to survive. So, as much as they had to do drama on stage, they had to put up this mask also to make sure that their art is actually alive.
Yeah.
So that if the art is alive, they are alive.
Yeah.
So, but some of these people who actually speak about so much about against this, some of the practices, etc., are the most religious people that in real life. I know them. So I've interacted with them. They're the most religious people. They will never tell their sons and daughters not to follow the dharma. In fact, they'll tell them first to follow dharma.
This I have seen it in Kerala. There are many people who follow a certain political ideology, basically the communist. But they go to the temple in the night.
Of course.
Yeah, that happens.
See, in theatre, in Kannada theatre, we started this, I mean, not in Kannada theatre, but in theatre, we started this tradition of doing Aarti to Ganapati before any performance.
Wow, I've never seen that.
Yeah, so it is in every, this rotating theatre, that is this, they used to make this company theatre, right?
Yeah.
They do Ganapati Puja before they enter performance.
I have seen only it in Bharatnatyam performances and Nataraja Puja or Ganapati Puja.
So the company theatre had this.
Okay.
And they used to camp for 9 days, 10 days, or for months together, right? Like circus previously. They perform the first things because they have to put up the tent and all those things, right? The entire performance starts with Ganapati Puja. There are songs written, Gajaramba Hera, Gajavadana Heramba. So it's a theatre folk song. It's written on the god Ganapati. It says that I will offer you the first this one, and with you the audience are also the god.
Yeah. I remember one funny incident I just recollected. When I was studying in fine arts, we were, as students, we were asked to go to a place in Chikmagalur, where there were these all top artists in India, all the who's who kind of artists, painters, sculptors. All these people had gathered at one 5-star hotel. And the theme was that make art available to the masses or understandable to the masses. I was like, you are at a 5-star hotel and you are sitting there and you are giving, sermons on what kind of, I appreciate their work. They are like super craftsmen on their work and all that. But I didn't understand where is this going to the masses. You price them at like what, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs and all that. How is it even going to the masses? That was the theme. I was seeing contradictions there. But of course, this was a chance to stay in a 5-star hotel and meet these artists who are like superstars in their thing. We took that opportunity. We went there. We had nice food. And artists were there painting in their rooms, and then, and a sale happened and all that. I think obviously there was some charity that came out of it. So I used to wonder out of this, how is it even relevant to the masses? Because a guy in Chikmagalur on the road would not even understand what he has painted.
Correct.
So I was in I was in a dilemma moment. What is this going on? But then the other aspect of it is that I got to meet these big artists, and I got to be in a 5-star hotel. All these things. So I'm sure this must be happening in theatre also, right?
So I have only this bipolar moment. Art is either too poor or art is either too costly.
Exactly. That happened. So we as students were very poor. We were asked to go to that was like, so if I was a very aspirational kid, at that time that this is the life that I want. I mean, anybody naturally you
Of
will have
course.
that feel, right? That,
Right.
look at this guy. He's an artist. He's selling his artwork, and I'm not saying it to offend anybody. There are very good artists out there,
True.
but that is the kind of lifestyle I want,
Correct.
right? And he's earning in millions probably.
Correct,
He's
correct.
selling his artwork. So I would probably do everything possible
Of course.
to flow into that narrative, to to do my art in that kind of direction, to see what is kind of sellable,
Exactly.
right?
So that I can make myself affordable in that.
I could never do that, but then I'm saying that it can happen to anyone.
Right.
And I also realized in the art field that unless you have a patron, unless you have a blessing of someone,
Correct.
you cannot move forward.
Right.
Unless you cannot actually do. I tried doing exhibitions and all that alone. Entering into that industry is not a joke. You need to have some hand on you, like some what do you call, a big daddy kind of a
Correct.
hand on you to move forward. And I don't know what all it entails.
Right.
You will have to go there, be with that person. It's basically lobbying.
Of course.
How is it in theatre?
I mean, that way I think theatre, I mean, it's the same thing.
Okay.
The lobby exists everywhere. And as I told you, art is either very poor or art is either very costly. The art for the middle class is very difficult, is what I would say.
Okay.
Right? So for the costly ones it is okay, for the poor ones it is okay. For the middle class it's very difficult.
How did you start? Where did you start?
I mean, I knocked. I mean, basically, I have a degree in science.
Okay.
So I did my engineering. I did my master's in software engineering from BITS Pilani. So
BITS Pilani.
Yeah, BITS Pilani.
Wow, you're a brilliant one.
Yeah. So I joined IT industry and started working. Theatre was always there in me as a passion.
Okay.
Started doing.
But never in your childhood where you...
I started in school times.
Okay.
Then slowly graduated a little bit in the college, and
Okay.
then nothing happened in the engineering because those kind of in days of engineering, fashion show was the only thing that was there.
Yeah.
Maybe to some extent a little bit here.
Mono act or...
The Western dance.
Western dance.
Any kind of acting is mimicry. Maybe was something that is. I mean, Bangalore universities did not have that serious theatre culture. Engineering universities, the National College, some of these Vijaya College, some of the degree colleges, they had some great theatre culture, and that is some of the stalwarts of today's Kannada theatre. They all come from there. The engineering colleges, they did not have this one, and we went in a generation where some of the IT companies came in trucks and lorries and pushed people for placement. So everyone from third semester onwards, people started concentrating on placement and everything, right? So yeah, that's how it was, and a little bit of theatre here and there. And I started interning, started backstage at many production houses, well-known production houses. Will not name them, but a lot of them kicked out because, of course, I didn't have a surname to recognize. I did not have a work to show.
What has surname got to do with it?
I'll
tell you my story, but you can tell your surname.
Surname is largely, I didn't have this the Brahmin surname Iyengar back then when I started little bit.
Okay.
It came, I think, a little later. I think when I maybe in the last days or in the first few years of my IT, because I needed a proper surname. The thing is that surname is the family from which you come from. Or like you said, who is that patron, who is that godfather that you actually associate yourself with. Now in theatre we don't have even guru also.
Right.
So who is that godfather that I associate with? So if you're a son, if you're a daughter of someone, you get free access to certain places. You can actually watch whatever place that you want.
Basically, you'll get encouragement.
You encourage because you already are 3 steps ahead. You don't have to actually climb the first 3 steps. You're anyway in the entire network, so you anyway start acting. You anyway be part of it, and you anyway know the system because your father or the mother knows how the system works.
Wow! So it's like nepotism at a different level.
Exactly, nepotism at a different level.
Wow.
I very well remember. I'll not take name, but I very well remember that a son of a very known theatre stalwart of Kannada theatre industry, put up a very beautiful post of an old time Ravindra Kalakshetra. Right? He put up that serene Ravindra Kalakshetra and those steps, and then he tagged few of his friends who were also sons and daughters of different stalwarts of Kannada theatre. They said that I have great fond memories with my friends that we were running around these steps, playing hide and seek, then watching plays, running in and out of the VIP rooms, going into the backstage, having tiffin, snacks, etc., etc. Such great fond memories of Ravindra Kalakshetra. He put up a Facebook post one day. I commented the next day telling that I have a great fond memory of also Ravindra Kalakshetra, of not letting me inside, not actually getting me to the third step of Ravindra Kalakshetra, shooing me always away, thinking that even though I have a ticket, pushing me around and not even allowing me to see the stage once properly, so that I actually wanted to just learn like an Ekalavya, not even be performing there. I'm not a performer, I'm not an actor, I'm a writer-director, so I don't want to perform. Not even allowing me, letting me near the set or anywhere else, because I belong to no one.
Okay.
I did not come. So this is my memory. Yeah, and he WhatsApped me telling that, why are you commenting like that? This one, life has different truth. I told that I explained my side of the story. Right?
Yeah.
When you say your side of the story, this is my life side of the story.
Right.
And he said, no, today you're so successful, you run this entire theatre group. Now, I said that, see, it came with, yes, I might be doing theatre a little bit more today. I would not say that no theatre person can be successful, no artist can be successful,
Right.
or contented for that particular matter. But I'd say that, at what cost is what all these things have happened.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you that art for middle class or someone with no family support is a difficulty, is a pain.
Okay.
And if it was more democratic, if people were more welcoming, and they were not. I'm very frank and point blank telling that people of the earlier on the medieval theatre industry, they were not welcoming.
Yeah.
They did not. They always, and the irony is that some of the people who judge the most are people from theatre, and their place told that don't judge people. Right? That's the biggest irony that
Hypocrisy
I went through.
there.
Yeah.
So
So they judged right from the point that this one. So give them the chance.
yeah. So when you say it's surname, you didn't have a father or a grandfather.
Correct.
It's not with your Iyengar name.
No,
right?
that's not with Iyengar name.
Okay.
Of course, that always has an issue telling that it tells my caste as this one. But of course, that's a family name that I'll carry with pride.
Right.
But I don't associate that with a religion, but that's a family name. So some of the greatest writers are Iyengar. So Guru Ram Swami Iyengar, Masi Venkatesh Iyengar, they all wrote Kannada literature, had Gnanapita, and then they carried their name, that particular surname, as a family name. So do I.
Yeah. For me, the experience was that using Nair as a surname was detrimental in Karnataka.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I can.
You know it, right?
Right. People think that you're from Kerala. Yeah.
So if I participate in a Karnataka Lalit Kala Academy painting competition for a scholarship or anything, I won't be considered.
Oh, because even though you're from Karnataka, you will not be considered.
I learned Kannada as the first medium, and I like Kannada, but still, because of that surname, there's a problem. That's a detriment, right? And I've seen that even during my exhibitions and all that. So when artists see that, okay, this is Praveen Nair, okay, side.
And these are the people who told not to judge.
Exactly. Exactly. These are the artists who do that. And these artists are at the helm of Lalit Kala Academy, or it's all, politics mixed with it. I understand that they have to promote local, but I am very much local.
Of course, local, yeah. So it's a family name that you carry on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Not necessarily it has to be associated with...
I can bet and say I can speak better Kannada
than
anybody, right? And I don't want to delve into that subject, but that's the reality, right? So people say a lot of things on stage, but they do, of course, they do different things in their real life.
And it, as I told you, as like how you had your experience, it was very difficult.
For you to enter.
Anyway, for me, 15 years back to enter into theatre and to mainstream theatre. Today, thank God, it is subdued a lot. Theatre has become more democratic. So a lot of people, like I said, anyone who can actually write few lines can actually be a writer. Who can direct few lines can be a director. Who can say few lines can be an actor. So a lot of theatre happens today, and no one is actually bothered about who is he connected or who is she connected, as long as there is some amount of good work.
So today that is there.
Today that is there.
Okay.
I can very proudly say today that is there, and very few people have even actually worked to get that
Nice.
that democracy in theatre.
Nice.
And it's a change. It's a change which is driven by people.
Okay.
And not the artist or anyone who is actually there.
Okay. But even that misuse also happens.
Yeah, of course, misuse also. As like any pros, there is always a cons that actually comes with it.
Okay.
So as much as we are happy that this has happened, we also have to bear that this can happen.
But then the danger is that the politics can make use of it.
Of course, and they have been always making use of it, right? So. And they have been making use of it at the most stupidest level, to be frank. Like, for example, they don't even ask which political ideology that you belong to. Randomly, they call up people and ask like that, will you write street play supporting this government, supporting that government? No. And they don't even know whether that particular person actually believes that ideology or not. And that person will actually even do it based on the money. He might go vote for someone else, but he'll write a street play for a different political ideology.
Yeah, that's maybe because of the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe because of the opportunity.
Correct.
That I will be under a radar and I'll get a platform.
Correct.
That's right. But then it's actually stupid to do that.
Exactly, it's stupid to do. Either people who approach should do an research, or people who actually accept that should have some kind of ethics. So either way, it's kind of it happens that.
So you also told me that you also write stories for or the screenplays.
Correct.
For films,
yeah.
right? Which all films have you?
So I wrote screenplay, and I wrote with the director Vinay Bharadwaj, Mundina Nildana, which is on Netflix.
Yeah.
Then I wrote
Mundina Nildana is actually a super hit film, right?
Yeah, it did well.
Yeah.
God.
And after that, there came in the same lines Turtu Nirgamana. Was it written by you?
No,
that was something.
That was
but at least that theme they took it.
Yeah. So, and before that, I had written a play. I had written a film called as Brahmi.
Okay.
That had Suman Nagarkar and Ramesh Bhatt coming back and being part of a film after so many years.
Nice.
That is due to release.
Okay.
Then February 9th,
so Brahmi is going to come.
Brahmi is due for release.
Okay.
So
nice.
the film is actually it's done about 3-4 years back, but due to certain issues, it's still not released. So it had to be released before Mundina Nildana, but it's due for release. Then there is this another play. Keep getting us play. There is another cinema called as Naguvina Hoogala Mele, which is releasing on February 9th. I wrote dialogues for that particular film.
Nice.
That's releasing next month on 9th. It's a rom-com, romantic comedy. It's a simple this one.
Okay.
Then I've written a couple of unnamed projects which are like on production now. And they're this one. Then currently I'm working on a film which is set on a very rural part of Karnataka. A very interesting project. Something very, very close to my heart. So I took it up because the subject and this is around Male Mahadeshwara Betta.
Nice.
And Male Mahadeshwara Betta nothing to do with Veerappan. So that's
that's
the catch.
Immediate
connection
association happened.
Yeah, so nothing to do with Veerappan, and Male Mahadeshwara Betta is the story around. So tells a very that entire geography is only very special.
Nice.
It's a world within itself, right? With no accessibility, with no roads, no infrastructure, because nothing can be done because it's in such thick reserve forest that the forest department wouldn't allow anything to do, and nothing can be done also.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that film now.
Okay.
Nice. We just finished first draft and second draft of the screenplay, and then we have to refine further and go in for shoot.
Nice.
So so this is my very brief. I started a little late. I started writing for films only by 2019. So this is my brief journey into the film industry.
Nice.
Also, Also serve on IGNC as academic member. IGNC as Indira Gandhi National Council for Arts.
Okay.
The Bangalore division is in Bangalore. It's the
Okay.
regional office. So Indira Gandhi National Council for Arts deals with arts and folk arts, largely with Chitrakale and fine arts.
Okay.
So we propagate and promote indie arts.
Okay.
So I'm on the academic council of that particular body.
Nice.
And then also current trustee and treasurer for Suchitra.
Suchitra Film Society.
Yeah, film society.
Nice.
No, Suchitra Purvankara Cinema and Cultural Foundation. So
Okay.
that's the trust. And,
Okay.
and the society is another different organization which coexist.
Okay. Nice.
So and also serve as a secretary for Hebbashri Vaishnava Sabha, which is our religious, which is our community-based
Okay.
institution, which has about 7,000, 8,000 members
Hmm.
across. We do a certain amount of community and charity work.
Nice.
So yeah, kind of do all these things in parallel.
Nice. So going forward, do you have like a larger vision that you have like a ambitious creative project or something like that you want to do?
Yes, I've always wanted to do a magnanimous play about Krishna Devaraya of Vijayanagara Kingdom.
Wow.
My very close friend has written 2 volumes about the kings of Vijayanagara,
Okay.
and especially on Krishna Devaraya. So he's well researched. He's based out of Australia, so it's already been published now. So have the content and the material and the research already been done. So that is something that's
But why Krishna Devaraya?
I always think that he is the most misunderstood and misquoted king. As much as we know that he is one of the greatest rulers of our country. And the fall of Vijayanagara Kingdom is also the greatest misunderstanding of our own history.
Okay.
So
Well, can you just tell what is that misunderstanding?
I mean, a lot of it is mismanagement of history. I
Okay.
mean, what we think really happened during the fall of Vijayanagara Empire, from what history that we read today, might not be everything is true or factual.
Okay.
And there are different instances and different facts that led to the fall of Vijayanagara Kingdom. It's not the classic quote of the weak son-in-law being the successor, the successors of Krishna Devaraya being greedy, they fought between themselves, etc., and that's why such a big empire came down. Might not be true. Might not
Okay.
be completely true.
I mean, I understand that it's because of the Islamic invasion.
Correct. It's become because of Islamic invasion. That is one, which is very fact. Even in the Islamic invasion, the people who actually gave company to the Islamic invasion is also a little bit of shocking. I mean,
Okay.
it might be someone. It a lot to do with someone from the dynasty themselves,
Okay.
as per the fact, and
Okay.
a lot of treaties that were actually signed to bring down categorically the Vijayanagara Kingdom, because it was the biggest empire, longest prospering, surviving
Nice.
empire. So yeah, I mean, leaving the other part of it, Vijayanagara Kingdom and Krishna Devaraya actually speaks a lot about our culture and tradition. Yeah.
So you want to do it like a play or a film or?
Like a play, like a more like a little bit of dance, little bit of drama, more like what Broadway does.
Okay.
And tell this particular story about Krishna Devaraya. So
Nice.
that's the ultimate goal. That
Fantastic. Okay. So in terms of like I always ask my guests, what is like the parting shot that you want to sort of say? Because in terms of, because you have been in the theatre for how many years now?
about 18 years now.
18.
No, sorry, about 20 years now. Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
So whoever, let's say, I mean, there are multiple parts to it. Whoever wants to get into theatre
Right.
as of today, like a young aspirant, what he needs to, what he or she needs to do. And since there is no Guru Shishya Parampara here, what is the advice that you better read something or something like that? Whatever be your advice, that one. And like a general sort of a message to even to the audience and to the people who do theatre, right? What do you have in mind?
For people who want to start theatre today, I have a very simple advice that they need to have three things. One is passion, patience, and perseverance. 3 P's is what I would actually say. Now, they can't come into theatre thinking that they will become the next big star tomorrow. Do not come into theatre thinking that you will actually thinking that theatre is a stepping stone for films. Yeah, or TV. And do not come into theatre thinking that you will learn everything. You will learn acting. Theatre doesn't teach you acting. Theatre teaches you life. From life you learn acting, right? So that is where you say that you get into the skin of character is because you become them. So theatre teaches how to become them, not the character. Right. So at WeMove Theatre, that the company that I run, the theatre group that I run, we kind of welcome anyone and everyone. We don't ask their name, their age, their caste, their sex also nowadays. We just welcome with warm hands. We have a studio at Jayanagar. They can write us to register at wemovetheatre.in or follow us at WeMove_Theatre on Instagram. Then
you conduct workshops?
We conduct workshops.
Okay.
We have 3 different kind of workshops. One is the 4+1 workshop. One is a 2-weekend workshop, and then we have an intensive 12-weekend workshop. And then we have a diploma course tied up with Bharati Vidya Bhavan, which we call as Navarasa.
Okay.
And that's an 8-month diploma certified acting course, theatre course.
Nice.
At Bharati Vidya
Bharati
Bhavan.
Vidya Bhavan.
So the classes happen at Bharati Vidya Bhavan only. So they can actually nominate to any of these courses. They can actually learn theatre with us.
Which is at Sheshadripuram?
Bharati Vidya Bhavan is in the Racecourse
Road.
Right. So they can actually join us at any point of time. They can actually work with us, learn with us. We have set parameter that anyone who is new should actually work for a certain amount of time backstage. They will not get on stage immediately because the root and crux of any theatre or live performance is backstage. As much as they learn backstage, they know how to do on stage. So we kind of stress that they have to be on backstage for a certain amount of time. So they should have that patience and they should have that passion. So that you can't just do 1 or 2 plays and just be with it. That oil needs to be burnt constantly.
Correct.
You need to get back. You need to have something in you to come back to theatre and watch a lot of plays, irrespective of which ideology, etc., etc. Watch a lot of plays. Learn what to do, what not to do from these kind of plays.
It's like, I mean, it's there in all the professions, right?
Correct.
Even if you, before you become a chef, clean the tables.
Exactly.
Like that.
So we have strict rules telling that they have to do about 5 or 6 productions of backstage, and then of course come on stage. So they can actually attend any of these workshops or contact us to be part of WeMove. And
the overall message that you have.
The overall message is, of course, like I said, there is no Gurukul system as a standardized Gurukul system. So I would say youngsters telling that read a little bit about our Indian classical theatre. Even online is fine. Nowadays you can go to just ChatGPT and give me summary about classical theatre. It will give you 5-6 lines. That is enough to start off with. I'm not telling you to read everything about Natya Shastra or what Kalidasa wrote or Shudraka wrote, etc. So,
but I think, if you have to create plays,
of course
you have to read.
You have to ultimately read. And the overall message is that a lot of people ask me that is theatre dying? I don't know what to answer because I know theatre fought television when it came for the first time. Theatre fought the big screen when it came for the first time. Theatre has been fighting every digital innovation and invention. We are constantly at war. Right?
And today's war is with the phone.
Today's war is with the phone. Now, how can I actually make audience sit more than 30 seconds is a challenge to me because all your shorts and reels are 30 seconds. People are very finicky. I have had audience who are just moving their hands like this on their palms in the show. So now when the web series came, OTTs came, they asked me, is it the end of theatre? So the overall message is that, and now again, of course, when the AI came, they asked me that, look, is it end of playwrights?
Yeah.
So AI, ChatGPT can write more better plays than playwright. So I would say that no matter what comes, we are always at war. For centuries, we have survived, and we have survived because we have humanity in it. The art has humanity in it. As long as that humanity and the human touch is there, I think we'll survive, and we will fight any digital invasion that comes across. And the example is that even if you actually announce a Ram Sita or a Ramayana play or
Today.
a Mahabharata play today, for next week it will be houseful. Right?
Is that very unique to India?
It is very unique to India.
Okay.
Yeah, or probably all the South Asian countries. Like different versions of Ramayana is also played out in Indonesia, Thailand, and they have their own beliefs of Ramayana, right? Even there, all the versions of this particular folk play are
Houseful.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very it's very us.
Yeah.
And there is some amount of divine power in it.
Correct.
It doesn't happen.
It's like 2 plus 2 is 5.
Correct.
You don't know what's that.
Correct. You don't know. You can't explain it, but it is 2 plus 2.
That's
is
the power of this,
Exactly.
or the beauty of this culture.
Correct. So as long as there is humanity and humane in it, we will survive. So
Nice.
And I just request audience to help us survive. So
Nice. Fantastic. Abhishek Iyengar ji, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prana.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your personal journey and life.
Thank you.
And also, sort of giving an advice to the youngsters who are looking forward. And obviously now you have given a room that you didn't have, the struggle that you went through, they don't have to go through that. They won't be asked for who is your father, who is your grandfather, or do you come with a name, right? They don't have to do that. At least there is an opportunity to, to dwell into theatre if they want to. All that they require is passion,
of course,
patience, and
perseverance. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you.